The next day, Fire Eater called Pinocchio aside and asked,
"What is your father's name?
Geppetto.
And what is his trade?
He's a wood carver.
Does he earn much?"
He earns so much that he never has a penny in his pockets. Just think that in order to buy me an ABC book for school, he had to sell the only coat he owned. A coat so full of darns and patches that it was a pity.
Poor fellow. I feel sorry for him. Here, take these 5 gold pieces. Go, give them to him with my kindest regards.
Pinocchio, as may easily be imagined, thanked him 1,000 times. He kissed each marionette in turn, even the officers, and beside himself with joy, set out on his homeward journey. He had gone barely half a mile when he met a lame fox and a blind cat, walking together like 2 good friends. The lame fox leaned on the cat, and the blind cat let the fox lead him along.
Good morning, Pinocchio.
How do you know my name?
I happen to know your father very well.
Where have you seen him?
I saw him yesterday, standing at the door of his house.
And what was he doing?
He was in his shirt sleeves, trembling with the cold.
Poor father! But after today, God willing, he will suffer no longer.
And why is that, pray tell?
Because I have become a rich man.
You? A rich man?
There is nothing to laugh at. I am very sorry to make your mouth water, but these, as you know, are 5 new gold pieces.
And he pulled out the gold pieces which the Fire Eater had given him. At the cheerful tinkle of the gold, the fox unconsciously held out his paw that was supposed to be lame, and the cat opened wide his 2 eyes till they looked like live coals. But he closed them again so quickly that Pinocchio did not notice.
And may I ask what you are going to do with all that money?
First of all, I want to buy a fine new coat for my father. A coat of gold and silver with diamond buttons. After that, I'll buy an ABC book for myself.
For yourself?
For myself. I want to go to school and study hard.
Oh, look at me. For the simple, silly little reason of wanting to study, I have lost a paw.
Look at me. For the same foolish reason, I've lost the sight of both eyes.
At that moment, a blackbird, perched on the fence along the road, called out, sharp and clear,
"Pinocchio, do not listen to bad advice. You'll be sorry."
Oh, poor little blackbird, if he had only kept his words to himself. In the twinkling of an eyelid, the cat leaped on him and ate him, feathers and all. After eating the bird, he cleaned his whiskers, closed his eyes, and became blind once more.
Poor blackbird! Why did you kill him?
I killed him to teach him a lesson. He talks too much. Next time he'll keep his words to himself.
By this time, the 3 companions had walked a long distance. Suddenly, the fox stopped in his tracks and, turning to the marionette, said to him,
Say, do you want to, I don't know, double your gold pieces?
What do you mean?
Do you want 100 gold pieces? No. 1,000 gold pieces. No. 2,000 gold pieces. All for your miserable little 5.
Yes, but how?
Oh, the way is very easy. Instead of returning home, all you have to do is come with us.
And where will you take me?
To the city of Simple Simons.
Pinocchio thought for a while, and then he said,
No, I don't want to go. Home is near, and I'm going where Father is waiting for me. How unhappy he must be that I have not yet returned. I have been a bad son, and the talking cricket was right when he said that a disobedient boy cannot be happy in this world. I have learned this at my own expense. Even last night, in the theater, when Fire Eater... Ugh, the shivers run up and down my back at the mere thought of it.
Well then, if you really want to go home, go ahead. But you'll be sorry.
You'll be sorry.
Think well, Pinocchio, for you are turning your back on Dame Fortune.
On Dame Fortune.
Tomorrow, your 5 gold pieces will be 2,000.
2,000.
But how can they possibly become so many?
I'll explain. You must know that just outside the city of Simple Simons, there is a blessed field called the Field of Wonders. Yes, yes. In this field, you dig a hole, and in the hole, you bury a gold piece. After covering up the hole with earth, you water it well, sprinkle just 1 pinch of salt on it, and go to bed. And during the night, the gold piece sprouts, grows, blossoms, and next morning you find a beautiful tree that is loaded with gold pieces.
So that if I were to bury my 5 gold pieces next morning, I should find, how many?
It is very simple to figure out. Why, you can figure it out on your fingers. Granted that each piece gives you 500, multiply 500 by 5. Next morning, you will find 2,500 new sparkling gold pieces.
Fine, fine! And as soon as I have them, I shall keep 2,000 for myself, and the other 500 I'll give to you two.
A gift for us? Oh, why, of course not.
Of course not.
We do not work for personal gain. We work only to enrich our fellow man.
To enrich others.
Oh, it brings a tear to my eye.
What good people.
And forgetting his father, the new coat, the ABC book, and all his good resolutions, he said to the fox and to the cat,
Let us go. I am with you.
Cat and fox and marionette walked and walked and walked. At last, toward evening, dead tired, they came to the Inn of the Red Lobster.
Let us stop here a while to eat a bite and rest a few hours. At midnight, we'll start out again, for at dawn tomorrow, we must be at the Field of Wonders. Right.
They went into the inn, and all 3 sat down at the same table. However, not one of them was very hungry. The poor cat felt very weak, and he was able to eat only 35 mullets with tomato sauce and 4 portions of tripe with cheese. Moreover, as he was so in need of strength, he had to have 4 more helpings of butter and cheese. The fox, after a great deal of coaxing, tried his best to eat a little. The doctor had put him on a diet, and he had to be satisfied with a small hare dressed with a dozen young and tender spring chickens. After the hare, he ordered some partridges, a few pheasants, a couple of rabbits, and a dozen frogs and lizards. That was all. He felt ill, he said, and could not eat another bite. Pinocchio ate least of all. He asked for a bite of bread and a few nuts, and then hardly touched them. The poor fellow, with his mind on the Field of Wonders, was suffering from a gold piece indigestion.
Supper over, innkeeper. Give us 2 good rooms. One for Mr. Pinocchio, and the other for me and my friend. Before starting out, we'll take a little nap. Now remember, Pinocchio, to call us at midnight sharp, for we must continue on our journey.
Yes, sir.
The innkeeper winked in a knowing way at the fox and the cat, as if to say, I understand. As soon as Pinocchio was in bed, he fell fast asleep and began to dream. He dreamed he was in the middle of a field. The field was full of vines heavy with grapes. The grapes were no other than gold coins, which tinkled merrily as they swayed in the wind. They seemed to say,
Let him who wants us take us.
Just as Pinocchio stretched out his hand to take a handful of them, he was awakened by 3 loud knocks at the door. It was the innkeeper who had come to tell him that midnight had struck.
Are my friends ready?
Indeed, yes. They went 2 hours ago.
Why in such a hurry?
Unfortunately, the cat received a telegram which said that his firstborn was suffering from chilblains and was on the point of death. He could not even wait to say goodbye to you.
Did they pay for the supper?
How could they do such a thing?
Being people of great refinement, they did not want to offend you so deeply as not to allow you the honor of paying the bill.
Too bad. That offense would have been more than pleasing to me. Where did my good friends say they would wait for me?
At the Field of Wonders, at sunrise, tomorrow morning.
Pinocchio paid a gold piece for the 3 suppers and started on his way toward the field that was to make him a rich man. He walked on, not knowing where he was going, for it was dark, so dark that not a thing was visible. Round about him, not a leaf stirred. A few bats skimmed his nose now and again and scared him half to death. Once or twice he shouted,
Who goes there?
And the faraway hills echoed back to him. As he walked, Pinocchio noticed a tiny insect glimmering on the trunk of a tree, a small being that glowed with a pale, soft light.
Who are you?
I am the ghost of the talking cricket.
What do you want?
I want to give you a few words of good advice. Return home and give the 4 gold pieces you have left to your poor old father, who is weeping because he has not seen you for many a day.
Tomorrow my father will be a rich man, for these 4 gold pieces will become 2,000.
Don't listen to those who promise you wealth overnight, my boy. As a rule, they are either fools or swindlers. Listen to me and go home.
But I want to go on.
The hour is late.
I want to go on.
The night is very dark.
I want to go on.
The road is dangerous.
I want to go on.
Remember that boys who insist on having their own way sooner or later come to grief.
The same nonsense. Goodbye, Cricket.
Good night, Pinocchio, and may heaven preserve you from the assassins.
There was silence for a minute, and the light of the talking cricket disappeared suddenly, just as if someone had snuffed it out. Once again, the road was plunged into darkness.
Dear, oh dear. When I come to think of it, we boys are really very unlucky. Everybody scolds us, everybody gives us advice, everybody warns us. If we were to allow it, everyone would try to be father and mother to us. Everyone, even the talking cricket. Take me, for example. Just because I would not listen to that bothersome cricket, who knows how many misfortunes may be awaiting me? Assassins indeed! At least I have never believed in them, nor ever will. To speak sensibly, I think assassins have been invented by fathers and mothers to frighten children who want to run away at night. And then, even if I were to meet them on the road, what matter? I'll just run up to them and say, Well, signore, what do you want? Remember that you can't fool with me. Run along and mind your business. At such a speech, I can almost see those poor fellows running like the wind. But in case they don't run away, I can always run myself.
Pinocchio was not given time to argue any longer, for he thought he heard a slight rustle among the leaves behind him. He turned to look, and behold, there in the darkness stood 2 big black shadows wrapped from head to foot in black sacks. The 2 figures leaped toward him as softly as if they were ghosts.
Here they come!
Pinocchio, not knowing where to hide the gold pieces, stuck all 4 of them under his tongue. He tried to run away, but hardly had he taken a step when he felt his arms grasped and heard 2 horrible, deep voices say to him,
Your money or your life?
Your money or your life?
On account of the gold pieces in his mouth, Pinocchio could not say a word, so he tried with his head and hands and body to show as best he could that he was only a poor marionette without a penny in his pocket.
Come.
Come.
Less nonsense and out with your money.
Less nonsense and out with your money.
Once more, Pinocchio's head and hand said, I haven't a penny. The taller of the 2 assassins said,
Out with that money or you're a dead man.
Dead man.
And once we've killed you, we will kill your father also.
Your father also.
No, not my father!
Aha, you rascal. So that's the game. You have the money hidden under your tongue. Out with it.
But Pinocchio was as stubborn as ever.
Are you deaf? Wait, young man. We'll get it from you in a twinkling.
One of them grabbed the marionette by the nose and the other by the chin, and they pulled him unmercifully from side to side in order to make him open his mouth. All was of no use. The marionette's lips might have been nailed together. They would not open. In desperation, the smaller of the two assassins pulled out a long knife from his pocket and tried to pry Pinocchio's mouth open with it. Quick as a flash, the marionette sank his teeth deep into the assassin's hand, bit it off, and spat it out. Fancy his surprise when he saw that it was not a hand, but a cat's paw. Encouraged by this victory, he freed himself from the claws of his assailants and, leaping over the bushes along the road, ran swiftly across the fields. His pursuers were after him at once, like two dogs chasing a hare. After running 7 miles or so, Pinocchio was well nigh exhausted. Seeing himself lost, he climbed up a giant pine tree and sat there to see what he could see. The assassins tried to climb also, but they slipped and fell. Far from giving up the chase, this only spurred them on. They gathered a bundle of wood, piled it up at the foot of the pine, and set fire to it. In a twinkling, the tree began to sputter and burn like a candle blown by the wind. Pinocchio saw the flames climb higher and higher. Not wishing to end his days as a roasted marionette, he jumped quickly to the ground, and off he went, the assassins close to him as before. Dawn was breaking when, without any warning whatsoever, Pinocchio found his path barred by a deep pool full of water, the color of muddy coffee. What was there to do? With a
1, 2, 3!
He jumped clear across it. The assassins jumped also, but not having measured their distance well. Splash! They fell right into the middle of the pool. Pinocchio, who heard the splash and felt it, too, cried out, laughing, but never stopping in his race.
A pleasant bath to you, signori!
He thought they must surely be drowned and turned his head to see, but there were the two somber figures still following him, though their black sacks were drenched and dripping with water.